Hello, Working Mommy Manual listeners and viewers. I am here with Kathleen Wilson.
And that's Nicole Corning.
And we have a special guest, Renee Scherzer. She is a dear friend. She is a professional woman, kicking butt left, right, and center, working in the financial services industry. Just published a book, which I have right here, called Lightwork. And I've already read the first little bit of it. I love it so much. It's just, I love it that it's in your voice. But I want to go on and on about you. I want you to tell everyone a little bit about yourself, how you're a working mom, and then we're going to dive into the book and just all kinds of personal, embarrassing, vulnerable type of things. And we're going to talk just like it's a Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, you know I'm not shy, so.
No.
And it is Tuesday.
And it is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. Well, first of all, knowing Kat for 20 years.
Yes.
With our kids in tutor time. So we're forever the tutor time moms.
Yep, TT moms.
And yes, the tutor time moms. I love it, TT moms. And then Nicole, I think it's at least been 16 years or something with us. So as far as working moms, like, I'm like your guys' like, backup dancer. I'm like, I'm supporting you guys. And
well, I love it because it's like my worlds collide.
No, it would be like if Kat and I were on stage and we were like, I know it's our concert, but we have a special guest star. And everyone's like, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? And then we're like, Renee Scherzer. And everyone's like, yeah, I love Renee Scherzer. And then you come on and you crush it.
Yes.
What would we sing? What would our song be?
Titanium.
Yeah.
Titanium is a good
I
one.
love that song.
I was just thinking Grateful. That's what
I love that song.
and I'll go back to answer the question. With my branding consultant, she had asked me to put together a song of like shedding your old self and who are you becoming? And that's what I even teach my kids. Like, who are you becoming? Build that life and surround yourself by the people that are part of who you are, becoming not who you were. And the song I picked was Grateful by Rita Ora. So everyone should listen to that one.
She sent it to me.
Yeah.
I'm also going to, in full disclosure, Renee and I went through a real kind of challenging time probably a couple of years ago.
I'm trying to think which one.
I know. Look, there have been a lot.
That was all my secrets.
And all right, so just to level set, me, Kathleen, and Renee, we did not grow up in bougie households.
No.
Yeah, you know my secrets too.
No, there's been a lot of, there's been a lot of childhood trauma and crazy, which is why we're also fantastically funny.
Yes.
Right?
That's what they say.
That is
our
our
story going to come up.
That
was really funny.
It's really funny because I share a therapist with one of my girlfriends, and I sent her a meme, and it said something along the lines like, our trauma has created us to be hysterical. And then the therapist's point of view is like, no.
I like the one that says, it's a meme and it's like, I just told my therapist something and she said she needed a minute. I'm totally winning at therapy. So we've bonded through motherhood and being professionals in the financial service industry and having a lot of trauma that we have walked through together. But Renee, when we were going through, Chris, your husband was going through his second cancer diagnosis, and I was going through divorce, and all of us are up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So we would talk to each other like 3 times a week on the way to work at like 6 in the morning, and everyone else is asleep, and we're like sobbing and venting and just like letting each other verbally vomit and get it all out.
And that was after 8 memes back and forth.
But
yeah. That was already started earlier. So
4 a.m. It was like, Renee would really, this would make Renee's day.
Well, I probably should say who I am because I'm
say who you are. Say who you are.
I don't know who I am. First, I'm just so excited that you guys asked me to be here. So thank you. I have been a financial advisor and went into the financial services industry for over 30 years. I started at Dean Witter when I was 19 years old. So through that process, working up the ladder, we talked right before we even started filming, our generation was hiding 3 pregnancies. I've got 3 fantastic kids. I have a fantastic husband. We've been together 22 years. I was married before to a wonderful friend that wasn't necessarily the right husband. But in a period of about 5 or 6 years, I had a lot of loss, cancer. So I lost my first husband, held his right hand while he went to be with the Lord a year and a half later. Held my dad after 8 days of hospice in my home when he went to be with the Lord. My husband was going through cancer twice. I had a scare myself where it was life-threatening, 2 things in last September. And so, here you are, a working mom with 3 fantastic, I have 3 now young adult kids. I'll be an empty nester. So sad. And you have 1 more year.
She's like, too bad for you.
But it, but for about me, I've always been somebody who, I grew up and kept my past. I was anchored to my past. Like you brought up trauma. And so throughout this journey, I recognized in that period of loss and losing that I was not showing up as my true self in my life. And I was anchored to my trauma, to my past. So through all this, I went through this evolution. So being in this male field, playing this part, I started learning, like, showing up in all parts of my life as my true self. And I started working with a branding consultant, Ushi Patel was fantastic, and had this revealing of this period of time of what, I feel with God was the journey he was having me on was saying, this is, let's alchemize all the shit you've gone through. And what have you already learned and grown? And so now if you ask me what I am, even though I've been in the financial services for over 30 years, it's, there's so much more to me now. Because now as of Friday, I'm a published author.
Yay!
Podcaster, mom, and I'm truly living my best life. So did I answer the question of who I am? I guess.
You're like everything.
I'm
all the things. That was good. That was real good.
I said earlier, my eyes are so swollen because I can't sleep because I'm so excited because I have I'm part of a master class now. I'm doing a workshop with Athlete Kinsman. If anyone doesn't know her, follow her on Instagram. She's fantastically funny and just bright. And I'm just having so much fun because, sometimes we get stuck on in this path and we think that's our future. And it could be in a relationship, it could be a business. And so now all of a sudden I'm like running through daisies. I'm like, this world exists. So now I'm on this new path. So we'll see where it takes me.
Well, and I think there are a lot of women out there in their 40s and 50s who have worked their whole lives, who have checked all the boxes, right? Like I went to high school, I went to college, maybe I went to graduate school and I got married and then had babies. And then I started a career and I was grinding. And then you get to a place where you're like, so I'm here. And there are a lot of parts of it that I really enjoy and I love and I'm grateful for, but there's got to be something else, right? There has to be something else. For me, I cannot put anything else on my plate. Everyone who knows me knows I am full up. There ain't no more room at the inn. No. Check please. But I have a book, I have a podcast, I've got my professional life. I have a, cross-country relationship, 2 children. So there's a lot going on, but I still connected to a lot of what I read in the book in terms of you don't necessarily have to throw the baby out with the bathwater and walk away from your life, but you have to recognize that there is something more behind the grind and the box checking. Yeah. And I think that is a message that's so important here. And I think it's relevant for so many women and for so many people. Yeah. But I think especially for women in their 50s, I just feel like we're all it's this revolution. Right. Where we're just nope. Nope. I am done with all of those
now. Things. Yeah. Yes. Being selective because there isn't enough time in the day. It's it's just you get up and you just start going all day long. And there isn't even, it's not like, oh, I have 30 minutes to have lunch. It's like I have 5 seconds to eat lunch and then make sure nothing's in my teeth for my next meeting.
It is. You know what I think you'll both be shocked at? You're not going to be shocked. I won't say his name, but somebody who I'm dear friends with now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
What I started finding when I was I
have a story about him, but go ahead.
Okay. I do like my life differently. And all of a sudden people are like, what is different with you? You are lighter. You are, looking younger. I mean, not today, but
Girl, you look amazing. You know that. We don't.
Or Dr. Aura is telling me I have a sleep deficit.
Okay.
So.
By the way, nobody talks bad about my friend on this. And that's the other reason I know you're friends with that guy, but I'm not, because he was mean to you once. And like, if you're mean to my friends, like, I will remember that. In fact, this is my story. We were at a conference and I was behind him, and we've never even like formally said hi or whatever. He was so nervous in the line of food, like, and I was right behind him, just kind of staring him down. I know it's awful, but I am like, you were mean to my friend once. And he's like dropping his utensils. He dropped it on the ground.
This page on here is about forgiveness. Exercise.
Show me where so I can rip it right the hell out of the book.
What actually is remarkable, because so I started on this journey and I realized I was holding a lot of that shit in. And I think part of the stuff we've gone through in our childhoods, things that you continue to go through in our industry, and you realize all of that just fills up like cement in your body. And I was really good. I always say forgiveness is a superpower of mine. And I should actually go back to the thing I was going to make. The people who I've been talking to, who have been connecting with me, aren't just women. It's actually older men that reach these levels. And some of them are the ones that are the traditional ones that you think literally have it all. They're the ones that have been started connecting with.
Well, you know why? Because they're lonely. They're so lonely because those men were like centered their whole lives around their job and their ability to support their families and not making actual connections with people.
Yeah. Well, and also not like, think about you go up the ladder. And there's a through line I have through my book is circles versus ladders that I'll circle back on. But what they're taught though is as they're going up the ladder, you've got to maintain this image, because like for us females, we'll have these talks, and like Nicole and I had it was a conversation that we were very vulnerable and laughed about trauma, and in a space that didn't make other people feel comfortable.
Okay, here's the story. We are at the Breakers. I'm gonna lay it out. So we're at the Breakers in Florida. It is like one of the nicest hotels in America. Okay, it is so bougie. We're at it's after hours, after a financial advisors conference, right? So it's and it was a great conference. And we're sitting at a table with a few people that we know, one really well, and Hey J Fox, and another couple of people but industry, right? Yeah. And we've had a few cocktails, and Renee says something. I don't even know what it was, but it was. I don't even know what we said, but it was something so awful about like a past trauma, and I bust out laughing, and we're cackling away, and then I glance over, and the other three people are mortified. They don't know how to react. They are speechless. They are looking at us like that's the saddest. Like we were winning at therapy.
Oh my God.
We were winning at therapy.
Yeah.
So the next morning I text Renee. I'm like, hey, just a heads up. Like we really can't talk about trauma in front of other people. Like it really makes them uncomfortable.
100%.
So, but yeah, we've had so many. Yes. Well, and when I was going through my divorce, you talked about being grounded in your past version of yourself.
Yeah.
And when you have trauma early in your life, you get a record in your head. I'm that old. We had records, but you get there's a loop in your head of that comes from the trauma about you're not good enough or you're dirty or there's a reason these things keep happening to you or you brought it on yourself and you don't realize it because we from all outward appearances, people would be like, oh, like they're successful and they're pretty and they've got a nice family and they drive a nice car. But they don't understand this whole loop in our head. And I started to use EMDR with my therapist.
Yep,
and I was talking to you about it, look, it is not for the faint of heart.
Not at all.
And I should tell you one thing I started doing too, because of journaling and writing, I started doing that, which was fantastic. But I'll go back to forgiveness because I do think that one is so important. And all of us have stories. And I always said, like my ex-husband, I got to be there when he took his final breaths with his wife, and then our son that we had together and their daughter. And what a gift that my husband was open. And we have, my girls with Chris, who I've been with for 22 years as my forever husband. But like that was forgiveness because we were able to go past those things. And even for family members, like I learned that I can be who they want me to be. I can release the expectations that I have and who they are to me. And it doesn't matter what they represent to you. And I did that with family members, and was able to release things, be very close with my father. And I held his right hand, as I mentioned, when he went to be with the Lord, just giving him so much love. And so with the forgiveness of it, I channeled that to the industry people.
And because we've had there have been some,
there was just one 4 weeks ago that I heard of something that was, send lots of love to this person. And especially when you come from trauma, and then when you are violated again. And the interesting thing is, people look at you or me or you and think like, well, no one's going to do that to you, right? And it is shocking. Oh. It is shocking. Kathleen and I sleep in the same hotel rooms when we go to these financial advising conferences. Yeah. And look, we're not saying the vast, 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 vast majority of men are fantastic, right? Yeah. But there are some creepers out there, and they're not even creepers. Say what happened to me last year.
Okay. Why don't you say, and then you say, and then I'll tell you what I said after, and you tell the story. You tell the story. It's your story.
Well, I think people would be surprised to know a year ago in 2025, I was touched. Should I use the V word?
Yeah. We say fuck on this podcast, so you can say vagina. You can say vagina for sure.
Yes. He literally, we were talking it was after a leadership thing, and we were talking, and I kept thinking his jacket was touching me and my vagina. And so funny. If you say it the more often, it gets more comfortable.
Yeah.
More comfortable.
Yeah.
About 5 times. And I kept moving. At one point, I felt like we were dancing, and
you made a joke to him.
I made a joke. I said, it's like we're dancing. I said, your jacket keeps hitting me. And again, after the fact, I think, well, it hit me in the same spot over and over again. Well, 2 other friends called me away. He ended up doing it to about 5 other women that I know of at that conference. I saw him do it to one that we know. And so when people who I've shared it with, I actually shared it with a friend just a few days ago to say, get advice on something. And it was shocking to me at how little is in place where you can actually have some effect, that actually means something. It's I thought because it happened to me, it's oh, good, it's me.
It's you. So so everyone is going to believe you.
Yes.
And then it's going to be handled in a way where he is going to be shamed, just like you were shamed and felt
humiliating.
I actually said to her, because Renee was going through it, I'm like, honey, I wish he grabbed my pussy too, because I would be right there.
You were in a public place. I'm like, did you just walk into your esthetician?
I did. And my esthetician is like, I love you. I'm like,
but people are shocked to hear that is still happening. And I think for me, I think what I started learning in the last, 30 years of being in financial services, standing up, going through, divorce and all the colors that brought, I was always still happy. And I was always still showing up. And when I was going through my divorce, it was a horrible divorce. My ex, the community property rules don't work well for people. And he was a restaurateur, and it wasn't, he didn't do anything purposely, but I had to battle 11 to 12 lawsuits. And I still had my little business. I had, I was a single mom, and I still showed up smiling. And everyone's like, I had no idea I went through a divorce. And I'm like, so that always, my nickname was always Smiley. And so I've always kind of learned, as I've been kind of going through different phases of my life of how can we live and be, if today was our last day, would everyone say, oh my gosh, Renee was so sad? And that always sat with me. And I was even going through, I didn't realize I hid my childhood, the trauma and stuff from my friends. But I was like, what would people say about me? And I had to go, there was a period of time about 8 years ago, there was 3 women I knew, separate walks of life, took their own lives. Mm-mm. And I sat through 2 of the 3 funerals. Mm-hmm. They left kids behind, and gut-wrenching, successful, gorgeous women.
That's terrible.
It sat with me of what people were saying about them. And so there's just things that, were placed in front of our paths. And I think I always told even my husband, I'm like, honey, we got it. We're going to have no challenges because God's put me through enough shit. We're going to have a great future. Well, and then shit happened. So,
right.
Lost cancer twice, different, going on our second mountains and careers and things like that. But the forgiveness was a big thing for me. And that was a big thing that I learned to do, not just for those close to me, but others around me. And so like something happened 4 weeks ago, and it was another blackballing incident that was like something that was evolving, something in the industry that was like, I would never have thought would have been something that would have happened. And it's from someone that I wouldn't have thought would happen. And it was so like in my face about it that I was like, how does something like that happen? And you see it in when you're standing up at your school, when your child is being bullied, you see it in other aspects of our life. And I'm going, okay, so I was blackballed at a kid's school. Now I'm being blackballed by some, industry thing that for standing up for what's right. And this, I just heard this, 4 weeks ago, and it was that incident when I was inappropriately touched. And it was like, wow, how does that even happen at this
stage of your life? You're like,
right.
You're like,
you are just there attending a conference, having conversations with people, and then this happens to you.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, you're just like, I am not here for the drama. I didn't ask for any of this stuff, and now I'm being forced to handle all of this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So you kind of learn, and then so instead of like, initially you get a little upset and things too, and then you learn like, when someone is treating you poorly, whether it's a family member or whether it's something happened in your childhood, whether it's a spouse or whether it's an industry colleague or something like that, it usually, we all know it has nothing to do with us, but we think about the energy we give to that person, that situation, and we carry it with us. And it's like, they're not going to get my good energy. And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be any leader. It could be your receptionist. It could be, and it's like, I'm looking around going, I am giving so much good energy. So I would see that during different seasons of my life. And I'm so, as you guys know, my hands are in everything. Mm-hmm. And here I am going, okay, there is a through line here of me standing up and me having to battle. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm just going to always be that person. If my kid's getting bullied at school, I'm going to talk to the parents and talk to the leaders of the school. And it's like, and I started realizing very early on, a lot of times that meant I was standing alone. And if I was going to do that, like that situation, if I'm going to do that, I can't take this shit to my family, to my clients, to my colleagues, because, our industry, we have so many fantastic people, and they're dear, dear friends of mine. And I'm like, I want them to get the best of me. And if I'm holding something that because of, something that happened to me, that's going to be a pretty shitty life. And they're going to look at me and be like, God, she is so draining. So I've had to learn how to really change where that, how I was impacted. And so I become, people, and one of our friends, Janya, is like, you're going to send them light and love. And I'm like, I do. I put people in prayer bubbles, light bubbles. I just envision God's hands on them. And because I realize if they are like, even at I bring up the school example, because I think a lot of people can relate to that as moms. When your child is going through something, and you usually feel like you're standing alone, I literally, when you start sending those people more positive, like, and putting them, you could still be mad and everything else, it stops caring, because you carry that shit with you for years and years and years. So I did a lot of work to release all that.
I definitely have released a lot of anger about things that happened to me younger, which is interesting because a lot of that was kind of, worse. And, but I actually kind of enjoy torturing people sometimes. I know. I'm evil. But like, it's not even toxic. I am just like, oh, like, I know.
Yes.
And I am right here.
Okay. But sometimes though, devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Sometimes if you go at it that way, you don't get the response you want. So when people shut down, and you learn that, and you know that.
Yeah.
It's like a negotiation. Like that situation that happened last year. He was a pastor, father, beautiful kids, and a gorgeous wife. And we were talking about our faith. We were talking about me writing this book. That's what was. It was a year and 3 months ago when I was talking about this book, because I was explaining my thought process.
And he was very highly thought of in the industry. Yeah. So he wasn't, and you knew him well. You were on leadership with him.
Yes.
So it wasn't, yeah.
Well, so I'm still trying to figure out, as I navigate of how much energy you give that, but I am someone who does speak out when things are wrong. And so I do it there. There's more to come. I talked to an industry friend of ours the other day for advice on, he's more senior, and he was like, gave me some good advice. I'm like, I can't put a pin in that and move on because I have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have a daughter.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I can't comfortably move forward. I mean, I was bawling telling my daughters. It was humiliating. And I just remember, and it's not even just it. The problem is with those types of things that happen is it becomes politicized and all these other things, and it doesn't need to be.
Right.
It's just a human integrity issue.
Right.
Every organization, there's nothing, it's not isolated.
Right. Well, and then I'm sure you probably can't go into details, but have you gotten closure? Are you working through things? Like, hopefully there are some consequences for this individual.
Well, there was no consequences directly with him through my situation. But I will be talking about it because I think a lot of my male friends were like, what do I do if I'm sitting there and this is happening? Because I had other women coming to me, sharing their stories with me, and leaders that we know were getting up and walking away, and they're fantastic people, but they were uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, as I was talking to our friend Nevin, he's like, why don't you have a conversation with a man, and you guys have a conversation. And I thought that was a fantastic thing. And so, yeah, I think like some of those things, and I know we got off on this tangent here, but I think how we go about the world is who we are.
Well, and circling back to, you have been able to find forgiveness for people who have hurt you, even if it hasn't been 20 years and time has healed some of the wounds.
Yeah,
it can be something that it's fresh, it's raw, and it's what's in it for you. And there's that famous saying, I say it all the time, holding anger for someone else is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like, we know that.
Well, and life is so freaking short. I mean, it is like you sit there and live. Like, I have never felt more fulfilled in my life. And I started doing this work, and I was talking to people, and they were like, what are you doing? Like, you have like you've seen that too, where people walk in a room and you're like, okay, they light up the room. Like, I need some of that juice. And I'm thinking, like, I'm always kind of turbo, and usually it's like after a, coffee, lots of coffee. Yeah. But I started realizing I was showing up differently because I was doing this work myself. And it's interesting because I had started writing a book. It was about 15 years ago, called A Hard Road to Happiness. And it was about all the shit that we've all gone through, my own story. And it was like, I want to tell my story so I can leave a legacy so people know, like, you can still be happy no matter what. But then I thought, I don't want that to be my legacy. Like, that's not my legacy. That was, part of my journey. And so I was like thinking this last year and working with Ushi, and she was helping me uncover, like, she asked me a question. She goes, how do you want to feel, Renee? And I was like, how do I want to feel? Like, it was at a time where, we'd gone through, Chris was just getting done with his radiation. We had sold our businesses. So we're at, with a fast growing company. I'm industry leadership stuff. I've got 3 kids. I've got all these other things. And someone's asked me how I want to feel. I'm like, no one asked me how I want to feel. And now I'm thinking,
You're like, how do I want to feel?
Right.
And I first thought, like, I want to
take a nap.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't wear my Viore every day. So I wear cute pajamas every night and just feel like I'm just effortlessly going about the world. And I have my little vision board inspired by your vision board. And so I said, I just want to feel where I'm not gripping the bat so flippin' tight. Because everything was like,
that's a great analogy. And I connect with it. I think you do too. I think so many people are going to connect to that, where there's so much going on and you don't even realize how tightly you're gripping the bat.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there was a meme I sent you recently, and it was about just slowing down. It's like, we're just in such a rush to go everywhere all the time. Like the meme is, she's walking, and it's a reel, not a meme. It's a reel, and she's walking, and then she's like, okay, I can slow down. So she slows down, and then she's sitting down and she's trying to eat, but she's walking around. She's like, no, I can sit down and I can eat, and it just goes on. And it's just like, just taking his,
where
I feel like we can though.
No, because there's not enough time.
Well, and where I feel, and I wonder if you feel this too, but I do feel busy with the minutia of life for sure. But I also, in terms of the service work I do and the organizations and the boards that I serve on, I do feel, especially around getting more women into financial services and getting more women involved in their own finances, I literally feel like I am running out of time to make that happen. So it's not just the little piddly stuff, but I feel
It's a purpose.
I feel like, cause no one else is going to do it. I look around, I'm like, who else is going to do this?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, that's right. When I was doing, I do a lot of community work, and for a period of time, I was rescuing dogs. I think this period. I would look every night, running my business. I was looking every night at the dogs that were on the euthanasia list, and I'm dialing and messaging and calling people that I don't even know at rescues to get them, and showing up at Maricopa County to rescue these dogs. And I felt like it was the same thing, because
who else is going to do it?
And I started looking at people differently. And then Chris, my husband, came to me and he's like, honey, because their kids were younger even at the time, and I had a business, but I was like, I can't let these dogs die. And I was exhausted, but I do get what you're saying, because you, all of a sudden though, you're like, wait, this is now having a ripple effect. And it's like, this is what I can do where I'm still saving myself, or I still feel like my impact is there. And I think that's what I started learning to do and someone said it, we were on a plane, what's Mike's last name? He said about a slingshot. Sometimes you got to step back to launch forward. Right. And I use the slingshot approach. I think any of my clients or former clients know, I said it many times in meetings, like, we've got to step back so we can launch forward. But what I learned doing, my morning routine is like 2 hours long now. It includes my workout, does not include shower and getting my hair done and stuff, but, or doing my hair, but which I hate doing. It's the time, I sit 20 minutes in silence, and I call it my mindfulness. I literally spend time with God. And I sometimes, if I have a question or a problem.
Do you know who used to do that? Kobe Bryant.
Oh, really?
Yep. I read about that, and I tried to do it, and I did it for 2 days. But
I give you an hourglass, because in my book too, I talk about 5 minutes, but it's remarkable of when you learn to slow down. Like that meme was really funny about the lunch thing, but we make jokes about it, but it's true. I figured out so much stuff slowing down. And there was clarity, because you're going in this life. And I loved, what I was doing. And I just stepped away from, fantastic clients and company and people. And I'm sitting there going, what's my next chapter? But I knew there was something else I was meant to be doing. And that's kind of where this it's only been like 8 weeks does. So I had to say goodbye to clients and a company and people that it was really hard to do. But now I'm like, I got there through silence. I got there through writing. Honestly, it took me 3 times to pass English 101 at ASU. Now, it was ASU. I wasn't a sorority. So,
lots of drinking, lots of late nights. You too, my son goes to ASU. You too can write a book, even if you went to ASU.
So excuse all the errors.
Right off the bat.
They are some. There was lots of editorial reviews, but but no, it was like I went through this change in me. And even this book was the 3rd version. And I'll tell you a quick thing. I think you guys know, when I was younger, I've always been goal driven and accomplish. I was, overcompensating for other things. I had all my goals except for one. I'd write in my early 20s, 100 goals I wanted to accomplish in life. And
oh my God, that's a lot.
That's how shitty of a position I was in. I was broke, lonely. I couldn't even buy myself a pair of tennis shoes. So actually one of the goals was being able to buy myself a pair of tennis shoes, because I work out all the time, and where I didn't freak out and have anxiety. And then it was how many kids I wanted, how much money I wanted to make, what I wanted in my bank account. I had places I wanted to go. I had things, about like, I want to be on a TV show, and then I got asked to be interviewed on something, be a fitness model, and I was on some Lifetime fitness ads. And it was like all these things. The only thing I had left to be was on Oprah. So last year in this branding experience, I thought Ushi, who I started working with, Ushi Patel was fantastic, was going to be like, here's your hair color, here's your outfit, this is how you walk, this is what your website's going to look like. Instead, she dove deep to figure out who I truly was. So she said, your homework assignment this week is if you're on Oprah, what would you say? What would you have to offer? So when I was, 22, 23, I said to my friends, when they asked me, why would I say on Oprah? I said, it doesn't matter because I'm on Oprah, like I'm there. And
you'd be like, I'm here, bitches. That's what you'd say in your 20s.
Because I was a Sun Devil. Yeah, or I am a Sun Devil.
Yes. Forks up.
Yes, I was an Alpha Phi at ASU. So for any Alpha Phi sisters out there. So they, but also, when I sat there and was like, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking? I was talking about
the Oprah.
We were talking about what would you say on Oprah?
Thank you. And I was going through, I wrote it and I gave it. I was all proud because I'm like doing my homework. I'm all excited. And she's like, this is fantastic. This is what the world expects you to say. What does Renee actually want to say? Who or what are you saying? And I'm thinking, holy shit. We go through life as leaders performing. And everything's so performative. And I'm thinking, this is what we do. So I went back and did my homework and I said, this is who I truly am. And so the book started coming through where I was afraid to say things. Now, I mentioned earlier, I think I did something on Instagram, was like writing a book. And because you've written a book is like standing in front of everybody naked. And people you don't even know. And it's very vulnerable. It is like a podcast too. We feel that we talked about that earlier as well. And I'm thinking, can I say that? Or can I not say that? I'm like, you know what? September rolled around. I had written 2 versions of it at that point. I had a ruptured appendix followed by a horrible infection.
It was awful.
Awful. You guys got me that big bag of stuff and to keep me entertained. And I was like 109
That was my anxiety, by the way, because I could not stop putting shit in that bag. I was like, she needs this. She needs this. She needs this. I was like Santa Claus going over to her house with this bag. And I just left it on out front because she was real sick.
Thing was mac and cheese.
I got her crap mac and cheese.
She had all these fancy things in mac and cheese.
I was like, because when I'm
sick, I could take 2 bites.
Because when you're sick, what do you want? Ginger ale and mac and cheese.
Well, and I got down to 109 pounds. I was frail. I spent half the month in the hospital, and had we not even gone back in like that Saturday night after I'd gotten home and was not doing well, I listened to the doctors to wait till Monday to go back in. I would have gone septic. They took, within hours of me getting back to the hospital that Saturday night, they took 650 cc's of an infection out of my abdomen. But when you're in that period of time of September, I knew which is funny because my song ringer on my phone is September.
Do you remember? Yeah. We love that too. That's our jam.
Yes, that's my song.
21st night of September. I sing occasionally on the podcast.
If I don't answer right away, is because I'm listening to the song.
But she's dancing.
When you get through and you're literally stripped down, I was like, I'm going to write truly what I feel living a good life is, how I've got to fulfillment, how I reached all my goals and beyond way earlier than I ever expected. And I feel good. Like I feel so proud of who I am. And the epilogue in this book is, when you think about someone asked me the other day, it's like, what was the hardest thing to write? And if you think about, I know your current book, it's like everything because it's fictional, but like this book, when it's so intimately you, it was like, what was the hardest thing? And I'm like, it was a letter to my younger self because it's going to make me cry, but I even cry reading it. It's like listeners just do one thing is write a letter to their younger self. And we get in this trap of this comparison trap. And I did, we talk to our younger kids, but we don't talk to adults about this. And even, our male colleagues, we talked earlier.
You know what we should do when we have our girls trip? Renee is on my girls trip. So when we do our girls trip, we should all.
Pajamas. Do you see the pajamas I sent over?
We're totally doing matching pajamas. We're jammies. And then we should all write letters to our younger selves and then switch and someone else has to read them out loud.
I love it.
That's what we're going to do. I call it.
Good job.
Okay.
We'll tell everyone who's listening because I'm sure they'll listen.
I'm sending this to them.
Yeah.
Hey, ladies.
We said it in unison. But it's the, I sat there and I started writing and then all of a sudden, there was the day on Sunday, I wrote 10 hours. And so when people think that they want to write a book, it comes out at the most vulnerable of times too of you. But go for it. Get naked, get comfortable. And then you read it and you're like, I just feel like it's people sitting down with me. And I started finding literally older men. They were the ones who
Not in a weird way.
Not in a weird way. And Yeah, not in a weird way. I was going to seriously just go off the tangent. But in the most remarkable of ways, I'm sitting down with them and I'm going, oh my goodness. Like again, having worked in retirement services and financial services, almost my entire career, we are talking to people, getting them to retirement. Why? Then they're saying, okay, when I get to age 65 or 67, then I'm going to write the book. Then I'm going to do this. Well, Ethan's father, Patrick, he didn't get that liberty. He died at 53. It was a mole on his back. It was melanoma. And my nephew was 28 and he didn't wake up one day. So why are we waiting? And I started learning, my conversation started shifting with people, even with clients I served. And I sat there and thought, how do you want to feel? Why would you wait until 65 to do that? And, and I started thinking, why am I not doing this myself? And when you take a step back and start spending that time yourself and you start learning what, releasing the anchors that are not serving you. And then I started looking at leaders and thinking about why is that? Because you get to this, in your 50s and now you're surrounded by leaders. And it's like, how are people successful? It means not just successful by a income level or business or positioning, but who's happy. And, in the book too, I say, I sat down when I was in my younger years, when I first started my business, with the president of a national women's association. Gorgeous, well-dressed. I mean, she was like an idol to me, kids, very successful attorney. She was the president. She should get on stage. And I said, can I sit with you for lunch at the next luncheon? And I scheduled it with her and I sat with her and I had my questions and I was like, I'm going to be efficient and make her be impressed by me. And I'm going to get everyone else's cards at the table. And, I was networking already. And as she was talking with me, I was like, this is not success. It was like disconnect from herself, disconnect from her spouse, disconnect from her children. So like I had these two evolutions in my life as I was going through, and I was exhausted because I'm doing what the world was expecting of me, the performative side, still though trying to balance being the room mom, team mom. Like everyone at my kids' schools still probably think I was a realtor or I'm a realtor because like I was flexible.
I get asked that all the time. I'm like, There's nothing wrong with being a realtor. Oh, no.
Look, drive. Yes. No,
I'm a financial advisor. Oh, you're a financial advisor.
And you're here.
Or I tell them I own a financial advising firm and people are like, their minds are totally blown. So back to being happy, back to working in a circular environment as opposed to just driving up the ladder. And what are people going to get from the book? Like why when you wrote the book, it was for you, but it was to give a gift.
Yeah.
What's the gift you want to give to the people who are reading the book?
Well, one thing I've loved is I learned it wasn't generational. My 18-year-old, which Addie, both of you guys know Addie.
Yes.
Girl, I love Addie. Yeah. I love me some Addie.
Things and had all these things that she learned. But I realized what I was doing was not like huge lifts. And I think for me, what I want people to, I wrote the book for the person who never reads. I kind of looked at the men that I was talking to that would be like, I am not going to do that workshop. I'm not going to do this. It is like 30,000 words or something like that of nuggets where someone can read a chapter and already make small shifts and feel a big impact. It's like the big impact, I call it, usually we're talking big impact light work. So light work is the work within. It's the light of who we are. I think we all have it. For me, I feel like there's the Holy Spirit within all of us. Other people,
except that guy who is mean to you, both of them, they do not have light work.
No.
I'm just gonna. You can say they do.
They have a tarnished light.
They have a
very tarnished light. A little light.
But tiny light.
Yeah. Didn't mean to say that.
I did. I did.
So they, but as our family, we are super competitive. We're all, athletes, and we're like, we always say whenever we hit something, we're like, oh, that was light work,
Yeah.
And so it's funny because I was sitting in my time with God, sitting quiet, and I named it light work. And so it's it's how we go about the world. And so where someone can get from this is where they can literally read a chapter. They can make very tiny shifts and have a big payoff. And it's all those little hacks that you start. It's kind of like the old Atomic Habits book, which I reread like a year ago. And it's like, it's all these
always a good one
things. It's a great one. But I talk to people like, like Joe Denora. I'm like, oh, did you read, Jim Collins wrote, From Good to Great. I just read his other book, his new book. Oh, it's going to slip my mind, but it's a heavy book. It takes a little while. It's a great book, but you have to really read it. I want it to be a book that someone says, I never read. I'm like, okay, you can read this because it's very simple. Right.
And that's how my first book was, the Working Mommy's Manual. And I was like, each chapter has a heading and it's like mothers and mother-in-laws, or having sex with your spouse, or, like stay-at-home moms are not the enemy. I'll give you, it's okay.
Give me the one in your garage. Yeah.
I have a couple in my office who you swing by my office. So, or they come over for a drink and I'll get you one out of my garage.
Well, and I think people say that it's like sitting down with me because it's easy to read. It's something where everybody who reads it is going to take something that is going to make their light shine brighter to everyone around them. And I think for me, it's my purpose in these steps forward is to help people live lives that, as a question I say is, what will live beyond you?
I love the message. I love the format. I think all of that is going to have a huge impact. And I think you've walked through the fire to get those nuggets and to do the work and to make the shift. And I think what I've read so far, it's information that will change someone's life for the better, but on the inside.
Yeah.
This isn't about earning another gold ring or a title, or this is about doing the work for yourself to make yourself a happier human being. And we all need that.
Once you do that, you move forward.
Exactly. Yeah. You naturally earn the thing or do the thing or bring the thing to yourself, right?
Yes. Well, it's part of Lightwork that allowed, Chris and I to build 2 businesses and sell them and exit. It's that it was Lightwork.
Well, I'm thrilled. Look, it's on Amazon and it's in Kindle format. There's a paperback, there's a hard copy, and you're doing an audiobook soon, which is great because Jonathan was like, is it an audiobook? Because I listen to everything on audio. And I was like, I said, honey, she published on Friday. Can we give her a break? Can we just let her have what she has?
I'm going to do a shameless brag. Because on Women in Business, I've been number 3 of new releases. And first is Emma, I think it's Grady. She's one of the co-founders of Skims.
Oh,
and then there's another one there's one that's like a 99-cent Kindle that keeps going in there, or another one that is going there in the second spot.
Congratulations.
So,
I want people to get in there, write a review, send it to your friends. I've already sent this to women where I'm like, you need to get this book.
Yes.
This is
I
going to be
a book. It's on its way.
Thank you. Well,
all right. Any final thoughts? Because then we're going to go into one good thing, which I did prepare you for. But any final thoughts?
I just think if people just, started looking at themselves and look at others through a graceful lens, if they could just take that with them, they can just take that without even reading the book. I think you're already off on the right foot.
I see you looking at me. I'm going to try. We love you so much. All right. So we're going to close out with one good thing, but get your book, Lightwork, Renee Scherzer. I'm going to spell it Scherzer. Is that like Nicole Scherzer from Pussycat Dolls?
No, her name is.
She doesn't have a C.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like Nicole Scherzer from the Pussycat Dolls with a C. For those who just need a memory key. If you need a memory key, I am here. I will paint a picture in your mind.
I totally do that.
I do too. Tell yourself a story. We are so grateful that you came on. I'm so grateful you wrote the book. I am so excited to get through all of it and pick all the nuggets out that I can, because just talking to you in real life is an amazing experience. So when you are thoughtfully putting together some words of wisdom, I just think we're all going to benefit.
Yes.
So
thank you both.
Okay, one good thing. Do you want to start us off? Do you have one good thing? Well, you want good? Yeah. What's one?
Outside in the book though is, as you talk about women, I'm raising 2. I have a son too. And it was my 20-year-old. She got the book and she just said how proud she was of me. And and she said just the most kind things to me. And what she was proud of wasn't just the book. It was that I always stood up for what was right. And I'm challenging her to go through life differently.
That's so great.
I love that.
That is precious.
That is precious. All right, Kathleen.
My good thing is just having family time right now. I know we talk about, we're getting ready to go on vacation with them. So we'll see. Ask me next week how I feel about that. I'll be like, I'm ready to go back to work.
We're going to do a lot of day drinking though. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. But no, it's just spending time with them and, watching them grow up actually. Brooklyn is getting ready to start off on her second year in architecture school and she's accepted in this program that was pretty difficult to get into.
Congratulations.
So I'm happy for her, and Bailey's starting on senior year in high school. So we're just trying to get through there.
Yes.
I have 2 one good things. It's my podcast, so I can have that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to say the first one. Oh God, I can't even
tissue.
I know. Oh, I hate crying too. I hate it. Okay, so I'm going to say the non-emotional one, which is I'm also writing a book, which you guys both know, and it's a fiction book, and it's based on I want to do for women in financial services what John Grisham did for attorneys.
Oh, there you go.
So it's like a thriller book about, and I want it to like get made into like a Netflix series or a movie because I want young women to see themselves in financial services in like a real cool way. And look, fiction is a beast, and you have to do all this pre-work and character sheets and mapping everything out and writing it. Anyway, it's a lot, but then I wrote out I have about 20 chapters how it's going to flow. And I just got done with chapter 10. Woo! So I'm now like halfway through the book. So that was huge.
Yes. That's exciting.
So that was my only thing.
Yeah.
And then right before here, because you saw I took a call.
I know.
So one of my dearest friends since high school has a terrible autoimmune disease. And it has been just kicking her
booty.
Yes. And I just talked to her this weekend and she said, like, I need you. It is bad. Like, we're running out of options. It is. And I'm throwing this Hail Mary pass and I'm getting this genetic test. Whew, and she just called me to say, like, they found on the genetic test, like, what? God, I hate crying so much. Anyway, no, I'm not going to really cry. But that they found the thing, like they found the path that this disease is taking so they can actually stop it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like they're not going to be able to fix it or avert, but they can stop like, and it's,
wow. That's
I know. So
happy.
It
is. I am so happy. And I was so
happiness.
I hate crying so much because I always think people are manipulating me.
No. Okay to cry.
I'm going to give you some coaching sessions.
Exactly.
I mean, so much coaching needs to be done.
Coaching, but
so much coaching needs to be done. But anyway, so that is like, I am like,
huge.
I am like, thank you, baby Jesus. It is the best. Like that is, yeah, because it was dark. Because she's like us. She's like, I'm going to push through and whatever. And when she was like, I need you, like it is bad and we're out of options. And I was like, okay, now we're going to shift into a different place and I'm going to have to be a different kind of support friend. So when she called and said like, we get to still fight, like I felt real good.
That's so exciting.
It was a really good one.
It was a really good one.
What's her first?
Heidi.
Okay.
Hello, Heidi.
Heidi. Yes. So put her in your prayer bubble, give her lots of love and light. Yes. And yeah. So anyway, okay. So at the end, Kathleen, explain what we do at the end. Cause this is
we always cheers, but when we we hold it together.
And why do we do that?
Because it's like a hug. It's press and hold.
So cheers and press and hold.
Hold.
Goodbye, everybody. Bye. Thank you.